certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a fun one today to talk about top 12 Chris Hemsworth movies. Over here, we've got Chris Diaz. Chris, how's it going?
Doing good. Happy to be back. I love Chris Hemsworth. He is, most of the time he's been in fantastic movie after fantastic movie. To talk about the good one.
We've also got Stacey here. Stacey, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks, Malcolm. How are you?
Good. We've also got Stephen here. Stephen, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Interested to see what makes it, what doesn't.
Yeah, and hopefully we've got one more person joining. He's having technical problems at the moment, but we'll see what happens. But Chris, how this works, we're going to go around and nominate a movie you think belongs on a top 12 list. If it gets, at least for now, if it gets votes, a yes vote, a majority of yes votes from the remaining 3 people on the panel, then it makes the list. Obviously, when we get the last person it will be much more easier, as it won't be an even number. But Chris, what's the first movie you're going to bring up?
I want to get one of my MC out of the way just to get this going, because I think that is his best performance in any MC movie. I got even Avengers Infinity War. I think it's the journey of Thor finally, like, he's losing everything with Loki. He loses like everything that he cared about. I think easily one of the best moment acting is when he's saying, what else I got to lose to Rocket. Like, I think Chris Hemsworth is phenomenal acting in Infinity War. Movie is fun, it's great, like part one of a two-part thing. And yeah, Avengers Infinity War, get my vote.
Stacey, what do you say about Avengers Infinity War?
That is a definite yes for me. That is actually my favorite performance of Hemsworth's in the MCU. It's my favorite version of Thor, kind of. And it's just a fantastic fucking movie. So yeah, that's an easy one. Easy, yeah.
Stephen, what do you say about Avengers Infinity War?
Well, it's my second favorite movie of the entire MCU, so yeah, definitely yes.
And yeah, Infinity War is an easy yes for me as well. I like it. I think it's great, and I think it definitely has it. Ford is definitely like a heavy presence in this one. So yeah, that Avengers Infinity War is going to make the list. Stacey, what is the first one you're going to bring up?
So as a huge Thor fan, it should come as no surprise to anyone that my favorite Chris Hemsworth movie is Rush. That's my first nominee. I love Rush. I think Rush is fantastic. I think him and Daniel Bruhl just both do excellent jobs handling real life people that were known public figures, one of which was still alive, Daniel Bruhl's character. And the racing is fantastic. The cinematography shooting the racing, it just hits all the right notes. And it's a great sports movie. It's a great Hemsworth movie. It's a great racing movie. And it's a great, what the heck do you call those based on true story movies? Yeah.
Stephen, what do you say about Rush?
So I haven't seen this movie since it was in theaters. It's one I would have liked to have rewatched for this, but I didn't get around to it. I think it's an okay movie. It's never been a favorite of mine, but as far as Chris Hemsworth performances go, and for this list, I'll give it a slight yes. I would probably rank it low on the top 12, but I'll go with a slight yes.
But yeah, this is an easy yes for me. But I actually rewatched it for this just because it's been a while since I've seen it, and yeah, this is definitely my favorite Ron Howard movie that Chris Hemsworth is in. But yeah, so it's going to be used for me. Chris, what do you say about Rush?
EDX for me. Danny, I think he's great. Danny Brule is phenomenal in this movie. I think he just stand out between the two of them, like in terms of acting. And but I think it's great racing thing, a great ensemble, interesting true story. I like the rivalry aspect. Kind of liking it a little bit just for a virtual ride, like the two great racing movie back to back. But yeah, a huge yes for me.
Stephen, what is the first review you're going to bring up?
You know what? I think this is probably my, it's definitely his most overlooked movie, as an underseen movie. It's a supporting part, but he definitely stands out. And that I'm going to go with Bad Times at the El Royale. He plays a cult leader, and he's probably like he doesn't usually play villains, so it's cool to see him play against type, and he's great. I love the movie.
Yeah, I'm not as high on Bad Times at AOL as everyone else seems to be, but I still think it's a good movie. This is another one I did rewatch for this, just because it's been a while since I've seen it. And yeah, it's still sort of in my personal top 12, so it's still gonna be a yes. Chris, what do you say about Bad Times at the AOL?
Steven stole my net pick. I love this movie. I saw this late night with my yes. I thought it was a brilliant movie. I think Hemsworth is a phenomenal movie. He doesn't come in to like the halfway point, but when he come in, he is stretching, he is chilling like that. Table scene alone with the whole gun, like the last stuff, it's scary as hell. Right? But yeah, a huge yes for me. This is easily one of Chris Hemsworth's best performance. The other one might come up later, though. I will say.
And Stacey, what do you say about Bad Times at the LOL?
Yeah, it's also an easy yes. I love Bad Times. I love how they introduce the characters and slowly reveal kind of what's going on throughout the movie. I love how sinister he is, but yet so charismatic as the like Charles Manson type. I think everybody is great in it. It's a stacked cast for sure. So yeah, if you haven't seen Bad Times, people, you should really watch it.
That Bad Times at LOL is going to make the list. And for my first one, I'm going to go for sort of one. I don't know how this is going to go because I know at least how one person feels about this movie, but I think Ghostbusters 2016 is actually pretty good. Like, I know a lot of people hate on it because it's female led and it's not canon to the original, but I still think it's still a really good movie, and Chris Hemsworth is really good in the movie. And it's one of those ones like I have a lot of fun with it. Like, I rewatched it recently when I was writing the Ghostbusters match, and it's still just as entertaining, just as funny. And yeah, I think this is one that I think it just gets really overhated, and for most of the time, it's like I think it just gets overhated because no one wanted a female Ghostbusters. Like, who cares? It's a good movie. Chris, what do you say about Ghostbusters?
I have my feeling about it, but we talked about it from the Chris Hemsworth point of view. I think he is the best thing about the movie. I think he easily get a lot of laugh, whether like the act, the saxophone listening or playing the saxophone joke. Like, I think him and Kate McKinnon are the two best thing about it. It did be low on my list, but I gave a slight yes because I rather vote this in than the other comedy movie that I made reference to.
Stacey, what do you say about Ghostbusters 2016?
Yeah, I think that if this didn't have Ghostbusters in the title, people would like it a lot more. I don't think it's a horrible movie. My son was actually kind of obsessed with it when it came out, so I saw it a lot. And it's a yes. Chris Hemsworth does the dumb guy, the himbo thing so well, but then does the transformation into being possessed and again kind of being villainous very, very well. And there's a lot of it's funny. There's a lot of jokes that work for me in it. Like, Is it great as a Ghostbusters movie? Maybe not. But is it still an enjoyable movie to watch on its own? Yes.
And Stephen, what do you say about Ghostbusters 2016?
I'm pretty stunned that it's making the list. Look, the people that don't like this because of the female thing is a very small amount of people. I think it's just I think it's just a bad movie. The ladies are fine. I think the chemistry between them are fine. And what?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sometimes I have impulse control issues.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
Long. That's my biggest complaint about it is it really starts to feel its length. It drags a bit.
I just think it's badly written and badly directed, and so I wouldn't have minded a sequel with the ladies returning, but with a different director. And I say that surprisingly because Paul Feig is usually a good comedy director, but not with this movie. Maybe he just got lost with making such a visual effects heavy movie. But I thought this was a really badly written and directed movie. So that would have been a no for me.
But that's going to make the list. Surprisingly, the one person
probably be the bottom of the list, but
I mean, surprisingly, the one person I thought was going to say no as well was he just.
Either that or the other comedy my head been brought up.
But anyway, Chris, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I think Stacey will back me up here. I know it recency biased, but I think it is Chris Hemsworth's best performance. I think they can give anything. I go in with Furiosa Mad Max story. He come in and you think of this really in a Mad Max movie with Chris Hemsworth. This is weird, but he steals every single thing he in. He played traumatic. He played the scary. He played the funniness when he wanted to. We go. Ross Weiler from Lofty and everything. We talked to him in Motor Joe at one point. Yeah, some funny back and forth. But the last thing when you get the line here, can you make it epic? It's one of the best Chris Hemsworth athletes in everything. And him going back and forth, begging and then making jokes and stuff. But it's fair to get my list. I probably won't make the list, but I do have to talk about my favorite Chris Hemsworth performance.
But Stacey, what do you say about Furiosa?
Yeah, that's another easy yes. I thought Furiosa was great. I thought he was great. His character is very interesting because sometimes he's kind of likable, but he's also a horrible person. And he does that so well because he has that charisma and that charm where he can kind of make you like him when he's doing awful things. So yeah, and he brings some humor to it that I don't think would be there otherwise. So yeah, and if you haven't seen Furiosa yet, I mean, that's understandable because it just came out, but it is really good. Check it
out. Stephen, what do you say about Furiosa?
Yeah, I wanted to see it for this, but I just haven't gotten around to it because I've been working a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, I also haven't got around to seeing it as well. I made the decision to go see Garfield just instead of Furiosa. But Garfield, I enjoyed Garfield. So it was just more of a case of Garfield was shorter, and I could fit that in before work.
That's fair.
But without, unfortunately, Furiosa isn't going to make the list. Stacey, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Okay, so another favorite of mine is not a Thor movie. I'm just saving those because I figure they'll come up. So my next nominee is Cabin in the Woods. This is one of my favorite Hemsworth movies, one of my favorite horror movies. I can tell by the face you're making that you disagree. I think Cabin in the Woods is so fun as a horror fan. I love all the little references. It's so funny, and it hits for me every single time I watch it, which is, I'm not sure how many times, I'll be honest. It's been quite a few. And I just think it's great. I think most people have seen it, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail talking about Cabin in the Woods, but that's my nominee.
Stephen, what do you say about the Cabin in the Woods?
This is the other one I wanted to rewatch because I know how much people love this movie, and I just didn't. Here's the thing about the third act of the movie. I love the idea. I just didn't care for the execution of it. But that's why I also wanted to rewatch it, because I thought maybe it'll hit me better if I rewatched it now than it did when I first saw the movie.
Mhm.
So I'm sure it's going to make the list because I know how much people love this movie. For me, it would be a slight no.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is an easy yes for me. I love this a lot. And it's got a New Zealand actress in it, Anna Hutchinson, but it's also one that I just think is a lot of fun. Like I've seen this a few times now. It just always hits for me on every level. But Chris, what do you say about the Cabin in the Woods?
I love having keeping the Drew Goddess thing going here. I love Cabin in the Woods. This is my up to 310 movie. I think it's hysterical. I think spoiler hit definitely one of the funniest, like the random thing happening out in nowhere moment. Like, I love this movie. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic. The whole cast is fantastic. Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford, a fantastic movie. Great twist at the end. The last act is a dream come true for a horror fan. And that's what I love about the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess so fun.
But if that Cabin in the Woods is going to make the list, Stephen, we go to you for your next nomination.
I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know. I think the reception this movie got was initially mixed to maybe mildly positive. So I'm not, or maybe mildly negative. I don't remember, but but I loved it. So I'm gonna see how it goes. But I really like, and I think Snow White and the Huntsman, and I thought it was a cool take on the Snow White story, and and I think it was cool making Chris Hemsworth's Huntsman character basically the lead. I thought that was a cool idea, even though Snow White is still very much the lead, of course. And Charlize Theron, great icy villain. Some great battle scenes. So I enjoyed it. I'll see how this ends up.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting pick. But yeah, I mean, I rewatched the Snow White movies recently when we did the Emily Blunt episode. She's not in this one, but she's in the sequel. But I thought I'm going to watch them both because why not? But yeah, Snow and the Huntsman, I think Chris Hemsworth was good. I think it's a good movie, and just because looking at the ones that got Hyde in it, some of them I don't think will come up, and some I just think don't have a shot at making it on, even if I did bring them up. But so I'll give this a slight yes. Chris, what do you say about Snow White and the Huntsman?
not the worst Snow White movie that came out between that year with that Merriman. I will say that. But he had the best thing about it. And him and Charlie Theron say the best thing about it, not saying much because the movie is awful overall. Like, I'm not big into the movie based on fairy tale stuff. So past couple years. A no for me, I'll leave it to Stacey. Definitely, that movie left a bad taste in my mouth. Even the sequel left a bad taste in my mouth.
Stacey, what do you say about Snow White and the Huntsman?
So I think I don't really understand what makes this such a bad movie. I'll be honest with you. Like, it's one of those movies that I know people, the majority think is bad. And I'm just like, what am I missing that everyone else is seeing when they watch it? Because I think it's fun. I like the darker take on Snow White. I think that everyone, delivers a good performance. I thought it was maybe the post-Twilight Kristen Stewart situation that got it some of the hate that it got. I don't know. So and let's face it, I love Hemsworth, but he does not have the best filmography. So I've seen them all, I know. So I'd give this a yes. And maybe it wouldn't make some other lists for me in a top 12, but for him it does.
But Snow and the Huntsman
all MCU, which I don't want to just do all MCU. So
but Silent and Huntsman is going to make the list. And it's for me. And speaking of MCU, I'm going to bring up this. This is my favorite of the 4 movies. And it's one that I love a lot. I know when Austin sees the poll, he's going to easily disagree with this being on there. Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is great. Like it's one of those ones. Like I know a lot of people don't like Thor becoming a little more sort of more overly comedic, but I think this route for the characters, like, while I do like the first Thor movie, I thought his character just seemed a little bit bland, and I think Thor Ragnarok kind of helped invigorate the character a little bit more, and made him more interesting. And it's one of those ones, like, but in the comics I've read, I've always sort of seen Thor as a sort of a little bit more comedic kind of character that and all that. But yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok was great. I think Kate Blanchett was really good as the villain. And yeah, Chris, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
Thank goodness you picked this fine. What were you doing with your other ones? I love Thor Ragnarok. I do. I think it's one of the funny MCU movie. I think the stuff with him and Loki is fantastic. I think Hulk, phenomenal movie. I think the stuff with Hulk is like when you get to that. And Jessica Alba and everything. It's fantastic. I think Kate Blanchett fantastic. I think this is easily one of Chris Hemsworth most. So he did do comedy really well. Beat about jokes really well. I think that worked in this favor more than the other movie. So that's huge for me. I've rewatched it real lot, and I need a good laugh.
Stacey, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
this is actually my favorite MCU movie. Do I think it's the best MCU movie? No, but is it my favorite? Do I rewatch it more than any other? Is it a comfort movie? Absolutely. It's an easy yes. That would probably be my next pick if it hadn't gone already. I love everything about it. I love the comedy. I love the relationships. I love the introduction of Valkyrie, and I love Jeff Goldblum in it. And I just think it's so much fun and so good. And I love that it redeemed the character for a lot of people because I already was a big Thor fan. So happy to see some other people jump on board with it.
And Stephen, what do you say about Thor Ragnarok?
Well, I really liked the first one a lot, actually, because you had Kenneth Branagh directing it, and it is, does have kind of a Shakespearean, story. I mean, even Iron Man even makes that joke in the Avengers. If I were to rank the MCU, this probably for me ranks somewhere in the middle. But as far as Chris Hemsworth movies go, it's definitely got to be in top 12 Chris Hemsworth movies.
And I mean, we'll get to we may or may not get to first Thor, but I don't hate the movie. Like I like. There's no MCU movies I hate. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that up. But
I actually really like the first Thor. That's why Thor's my favorite. So like,
yeah, it has the best production design out of all the.
Anyway, before we start getting ahead of ourselves, it just comes down to bring that up later. Anyway, Chris, what was the next movie you're going to bring up?
I try and stay away from the MCU possible with a couple of my picks. But I try to bring up the one that introduced us to Chris Hemsworth, right when this came out. Star Trek, like his 10 to 15-minute on screen and Kirk Dad made a huge impact on you. Him attacking his fighting his wife, to stay not only softly, but his wife and his sons that jerk up on to stop the threat from invading, making him pass. Great introduction to Chris Hemsworth as that, and it gets me every time. Like goodbye to his wife when he sacrificed the ship at that point. But yeah, Star Trek, great movie overall too. Like we introduced the Star Trek universe. It is my second favorite Star Trek movie of all time. So, Star Trek.
Stacey, what do you say about Star Trek?
Yeah, this was obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously because maybe I saw it late, but it was my introduction to Chris Hemsworth. And it hit me hard, and I was like, who is this person? Because he was so good. And that's, I mean, the whole movie is good, but honestly, that's like the most memorable part to me because it's the part that like really gets me in the feels every time. So yeah, it's a yes. I swear I would vote no on something if the right thing came up.
Yeah.
Maybe my next choice.
Maybe we'll see.
Ooh,
I doubt anything would come up that I'd actually vote no on because it would have to be pretty
I
bad.
have a plate about even my.
Stephen, what do you say about Star Trek 2009?
Yeah, this is when I debate it since he's only in it for like 5-10 minutes. But it is a good role, and it is his introduction, and it's important, obviously, to the movie because it changes Star Trek completely. Since in the original timeline, Kirk's dad doesn't die, but I don't think that's too much of a spoiler because it happens in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
They
um,
explain it every time in the movie.
yeah. So it would definitely be a yes for me.
I mean, it's probably a spoiler for someone who's not seen Star Trek 09, but anyway, I've seen it.
I know, but it happens at the very beginning.
It's old enough that if you haven't seen it, that's on you.
But for me, this wasn't my introduction to Chris Hemsworth. My introduction to Chris Hemsworth was the Australian TV series Home and Away.
I can't say I've seen the shows I can't say I've seen that or Neighbors, but the movies.
But yeah, I liked Star Trek 2009. This is one that that I like enough. So I'm still going to say yes to it. That it may end up low when I rank it though. But Stacey, what is your next?
How many do we have so far? With 8? We have 8 already?
8, yeah.
Decide what I want my next. There's a couple I think should be on there, but I think I'm going to nominate something else that I don't think anyone else will. And then it's fine if people say no to it. But I'm going to nominate this based on the movie, not on Chris Hemsworth's performance. I know we've been talking a lot about performance, but it is a movie ranking. So, and I don't really know what the general consensus is about this movie. I don't think it was great when it came out. I'm not sure where people land on it now. And that is A Perfect Getaway. His role is small, yeah. He is menacing. He's not really the bad guy, but he's a bit of a thug. This might have I think I saw Star Trek in the movies. This was when I knew who Chris Hemsworth was when Perfect Getaway came out. I didn't see it because of him. His role's like tiny. But I think it's such a fun, twisty thriller about a couple on their honeymoon in Hawaii. And I don't want to give much away because I do think it's an underseen movie and there is twists and turns that, hopefully you don't see coming when you watch it for the first time. But I think, Steve Zahn and my goodness, I just lost her name, the Fifth Element girl. I can't think of any words tonight.
Mila Jovovich.
Yes, thank you. They're both so good in it. And Timothy Oliphant is so fun in it. And it is just a fun, twisty thriller in Hawaii, and it looks beautiful. And Chris Hemsworth is you can see where he could be a villain later on in this movie.
Stephen, what do you say about A Perfect Getaway?
So I saw this movie once when around the time it came out, and so my memory of it is very, very vague. I just remember thinking that it was kind of boring, to be honest. So that would be I would have to say no.
Unfortunately, I just haven't got around to seeing it.
I would have said yes.
Okay.
I actually do like this movie a lot. I saw it on cable a while ago, and I think it was a great trailer. I think he was great. Timothy Oliphant can do anything pretty much at this point, but it would have been yes.
But with that, we're going to go to Steven for his next pick. What are you going to bring up?
I like action movies a lot. It's probably the genre I watch the most. So, and I think Michael Mann has made some really great action movies. I wouldn't say this is one of his best movies. It's not top tier Michael Mann, but I thought it was a decent, solid little action movie that he did with Chris Hemsworth, and that is Black Cat, where he plays a hacker, and Viola Davis is in it, or Viola Davis. I don't know if I ever pronounce her name, but
You mean that side before?
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's got a couple of nice jolts and solid action. So yeah, I enjoyed Black Cat.
Black Cat is the other movie I was alluding to that I haven't seen. Chris, what do you say about Black Cat?
That's one movie alluding to I don't like for him. I'm not the biggest Michael Mann fan. I like Heat a lot. I like a couple of Michael Mann movies. I don't like Black Cat. It's a boring movie, and I think not Sign Empty, not the action movie Black Cat, but I would have brought up.
Oh, I'm not too late at it. I can just believe it. If you want to take her now, that's okay.
I just it told me I'm not really supposed to.
I was going to mute Richie for a bit.
So no.
Stacey, what do you say about Black Cat?
I am so neutral on this movie, to be honest. Like, I mean, I don't hate it. I do it does lose me a lot of times when I've seen it kind of 3/4 of the way through. I'm just kind of ready for it to be done, which is not a great sign for a movie. But I think because we've already got 8 and Richie just got here, we'll give him a chance to nominate some. So I'll say no. I mean, 8. Like I said, I'm pretty neutral. Like, I wouldn't mind if it was on the list, but why not give some other chances?
But that Black Cat isn't going to make the list. I'm going to repost what's already on the list for Richie's benefit.
Yes, sorry, I still didn't work out what was wrong. It's just that, I don't know, it's an Ed 10 encryption thing. It mixed messages disappear. But yeah, I don't know.
No, it's all good.
I'm sorry.
But before we go to Richie, Richie, what do you say about the movie A Perfect Getaway? Have you seen it?
I know of it, haven't seen it.
So that wasn't going to help it get on the list. But Richie, what is the first movie you're going to bring out?
I don't know if this is brought up. If it has been brought up, and you oh wait, hang on. I know it's there. Just give me a second.
We've been flying through.
You know what?
Just for the record, the last 2 movies that all those have been what has made it so far. That's all that's come up to pretty much until the last 2. So, yeah.
You know what? I'll go for it. I don't know how many people have just said, but his best performance, in my opinion, is in Mad Max Furiosa. So I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it up.
Does that count as having 3 yeses?
Well, what I was about to say is, Stacey, you said yes to it, right?
Yes.
So I'll give Richie a chance to talk about it, because then he can see if it might actually make the list. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So did that turn? Did it actually get turned down?
Me and Stephen haven't seen it, but I forgot there was the only other one that came up. But if you say yes to it, it's going to make the list.
Well, yeah, it should, because it's his best performance. He's amazing in it. I mean, if the Academy recognized action movies, which they do, I would advocate for him to get a nomination, because he's like Jason Momoa in Fast X, but it doesn't feel out of place. He's actually having a lot of fun, but it's a layered performance as well. He's an amazing villain, as you can probably tell with Bad Times at Royale as well, which I'm glad that made a list. Just looking at that. So yeah, like it's a great movie. I'm it's a shame that it didn't do as well. I don't know, like the idea like oh it did horribly at bomb, it just didn't do as well as Fury Road. But yeah, it's a great movie, and he stands out to it in the movie. He's amazing. So this has to be. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like I'm glad I was able to save it from not being on the list because this needs to be on the list.
But that Furiosa is now going to make the list.
You're not selling the movie off for me if you're going to compare him to Jason Momoa and Fast X.
But now, Richie, what are you going to bring up now?
Okay, give me. You know what? I think the movie is all right, and his performance is good. I'm going to bring up the Ron Howard movie, In the Heart of the Sea. Yeah, I think it's a decent movie. Chris Hemsworth does a really good job. It's a just sort of adventure epic that you don't really, sort of like your Master and Commander ish sort of movie that you don't really get much anymore. I think it sort of went a bit underseen. But yeah, I know I really I really enjoy it. So I don't know. I don't know where it will go. To be honest, because I don't know how many people have seen it, but I think it's worthy of at least a mention. He plays Owen Shay. It's like sort of like a historical action. But yeah, it's and the effects are really good. Tom Holland is in there as well. So you've got Thor and Spider-Man. You got Cillian Murphy, you got Oppenheimer, and you got Scarecrow. Like it's I don't know. I just think it's a underseen good movie. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I actually specifically watched it for this because, and yeah, it's one of those ones I do like it, and I'm actually going to say yes, because just looking at what I've got higher than it, some of them I just don't think will come up, and others, and yeah, so I'm saying yes in the Heart of the Sea. Chris, what do you say about In the Heart of the Sea?
I liked it. I love Moby Dick of a book. I think an interesting take on the true story about it. We have free spot left. This is tough. You know what? I did get a slight no just for now because this is tough. Like maybe down to free.
Stacey, what do you say about In the Heart of the Sea?
I think it's a good movie. It's not my kind of movie, so it's not one that like I have very high on my list of favorites necessarily, but I think it's interesting. Melville is, taking this story from him. He's a ship captain and they get lost at sea. And you get to see Tom Holland climb into a dead whale carcass, which is fun, and apparently stinky, if you believe him. And I think it's good. There are a couple other movies left that I think deserve to be on the list. But yeah, I think this is a yes for me. It's a slight yes, because there are only two other movies that I have kind of ahead of this, and there's 3 spots left. So,
Stephen, what do you say about In the Heart of the Sea?
Love Ron Howard, but unfortunately, this is one that I missed, and this is one I really would have liked to have seen on the big screen because I remember watching the trailer and thinking that this is definitely a big screen kind of movie from the trailer, but I haven't seen it.
But if that In the Heart of the Sea is going to make it on the list, it's on to me. I'm going to try for this one, see what happens. Netflix movies seem to get a lot of hate for some reason, but this is one that I watched for this that I actually quite enjoyed. it's only a really small cast. You got like Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller, and Journey
Oh, yeah.
Smollett, which are the probably the more known ones. But I'm bringing up Spiderhead, which is directed by Joseph Kaczynski, and the screenplay was written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, um, and I think it's a lot of fun. Like it's one of those trippy movies that's kind of hard to follow as well. But it's basically the plot of the movie is these inmates in this prison experimenting with drugs and all that, and trying to reduce their sentence time or something like that. Anyway, but I think this movie was just a lot of fun. It was entertaining, and I think Chris Hemsworth was really good in it too. Like as someone you really wanted to hate, but didn't want to hate at the same time. But Chris, what do you say about Spiderhead?
I have not seen it, and I have a Netflix movie on my list, but if I haven't seen it, it will be there. But I have not.
Stacey, what do you say about Spiderhead?
Yeah, Spiderhead is just a weird movie for me because I always feel like I like it in concept so much better than I like it in execution. Again, he is the charming villain that you like and dislike at the same time, which is always fun. But there are two other movies, and one is a Netflix movie that I think should be on the list before. I don't think this is one of his better movies. I'm like, it just doesn't hit right for me, which is weird because it has all of the things. Like it has the thriller sci-fi aspect. It's got Chris Hemsworth, which is always a plus for me. It should hit for me, but it just doesn't, for reasons I can't quite figure out. So it'll be a slight no for me.
But Stephen, what do you say about Spiderhead?
Yeah, he's done 3 Netflix movies. I've seen one of them, and this isn't one of the one that I've seen.
Richie, what do you say about Spiderhead?
Yeah, he's done 3 Netflix movies. I've seen this one. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think because me and my friend have this thing where we kind of give each other some movies to watch, and I think I liked it. I feel like I liked it more than others. I like the trippy nature of it, like you said. And also, just putting out there, filmed in Australia, filmed in Melbourne. Just I like to throw that out there, and like it gets. It's hard to get into because like for a while there it's kind of boring until it kind of picks up and you realize like what where the character starts to unravel. Like but there are. I mean, I do think. I mean, not to spoil the Netflix movies that we haven't brought up yet are better than this movie. And there's might be one where he's got a good performance or even brought up. So just slightly, I'll say no.
That Spidey's not going to make the list. Chris, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
So I will go for a Netflix movie because I don't want to be too overboard and confused. I didn't go with the sequel, not the original. I think some people will go for the original. I go with Attraction 2. I think it what made the first one entertaining, but I think made it more entertaining for the second one. I think Idris Elba is fantastic as small appearance as the guy that show up to high him. I think it transcends a relationship with family and I think really good. And they do go into backstory a little bit, but I find interesting. The action secrets are phenomenal at points. Like that one take to the middle of the movie, I think one of the most stunning one take I think for an action movie in a while. So yeah, it's Attraction 2. I will understand people pitch the first one, but I personally prefer the second one.
Stacey, what do you say about Extraction 2?
I'm so glad you picked this because if it got to me and I had to choose which Extraction, I was gonna lose my mind because I was like, I can't pick between them. Someone pick one. So it's a yes. I think it is great. I do really like that it's a more personal story for the character where it involves his ex-sister-in-law and his niece and nephew. I think that gives it more heart than the first one. And the prison yard scene is just fantastic. I mean, he punches somebody with his arm on fire. For that alone, I think it should be on the list.
Stephen, what do you say about Extraction 2? Is this the Netflix movie you've seen?
No, it is not. I have been meaning to watch it, but I haven't yet. Even though I'm kind of mad this movie even exists because it kind of ruins my favorite thing about the first one.
Which is only was this.
And
The kind of sort of ambiguous ending.
not
You know, where
ambiguous.
I thought, it's a blur shot of him from a distance. So, kind of letting people, make their own decision of whether or not he's alive or dead. And the fact that this sequel now exists means that that ending is not ambiguous, obviously, at all, because obviously he was alive.
Well,
I
you're
thought
gonna
it was
you're gonna hate John Wick 5. I'm just gonna.
Richie, what do you say about Extraction 2?
There, look. Hey, Stephen, have you seen movies? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'd say yes. Yeah, Extraction 2, probably out of the two, I would say the second one as well. Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, it's hard. It's annoying to say ever since John Wick came out, these got John Wickian clones. But hey, it's got the same guy who did all the fight choreography and stuff, and it looks fucking amazing. So yes, and he's a great action guy. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Extraction 2. I mean, I would have gone the first one personally. I think the first one's better, but and it's just I think the action is great in Extraction 2. Don't get me wrong, but I honestly would have been a slight no on this. Just because there's others I have higher than I would have brought up, but it's going to make the list anyway. Stacey, we go to you for your next nomination.
So, since Chris was kind enough to pick an Extraction movie for me, I will go with my other pick, which if we get around to me again, I don't know what I'm going to do after this one. And that is Thor, the first Thor. I know that it's not people's favorite MCU movie, it's not my favorite Thor movie, but I still think it is a really good movie. There's so much small humor in it. There's so many lines that I just laugh at every single time, especially the deliveries. I like the introduction to the character. Yes, it's a bit Shakespearean. That's not surprising. It's Kenneth Branagh, and it's Norse mythology. They introduced him in that way, which I don't think was a bad decision. I don't know. I've always liked it. I mean, everyone's seen it. I don't really need to go into details about it. If you either like it or you don't at this point. So that's my nomination.
Stephen, what do you say about the first Thor movie?
I'm so conflicted because there's another MCU movie that I think belongs on this list. But this is more his movie than that one.
Right.
Even though I still think he has a great part in the other one, and it is actually, even though there's a lot of humor and emotion in, I'll just flat out say it, Endgame. But this is the arc that his character goes through. So because of that, even though if this makes it in, that would mean Endgame not making it, I'll give it a yes.
Richie, what do you say about the first Thor movie?
Stephen likes chubby Thor. That's what I got. I put me in an annoying position because I'm really a stickler for just sticking to one, having rank. I'm doing one per thing, and I probably would have picked the first Thor for Ragnarok so that he's got more stuff to do. There's less other, big characters to sort of just steal the limelight, and I don't know. I just think I think it gets underrated. Thor gets underrated with all the other ones that come before it. So it's difficult, and there's at least one other one I was going to bring up, but I don't think that highly of it necessarily. So why not? Yes, yes.
I mean, it's the last pick. If people want to say no, I won't be offended because it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
last one.
Yes, I'll just say yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that just to bounce off quickly off Seven's point about Endgame. Like, I like Endgame. I think Ford doesn't have a huge amount to do in the movie. Like, he's still a big presence of the movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just, but it's just one of those ones. Like there's a lot of people doing stuff there. But yeah, I think the first Thor is great. Like, this is my second favorite war movie. And yeah, it's going to be a yes for me. And Chris, what do you say about Thor?
I like so a lot. I think it's very underrated MCU movie. They get overheat at times. My only knock again is I don't like the relationship with him and Jane that much. I think that one bigger aspect of the movie. But I would have gained more to Endgame over there, but I understand this and yes. But I just think Endgame that the punch for him and his mom and what impact that stuff in the first Star movie.
That Thor is going to close out the list. But before we start, just to recap what we've got on here, we've got Avengers Infinity War, Rush, Bad Times at El Royale, Ghostbusters 2016, Cabin in the Woods, Snow White and the Huntsman, Thor Ragnarok, Star Trek 09, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, In the Heart of the Sea, Extraction 2 and 4. I'm actually going to start with Richie for honorable mentions just because his computer wouldn't let him get here earlier.
Yeah, fucking computer. It's probably this one's probably guilty pleasure, but he's the best part in it. Vacation. He's the best part in it, Chris. He is the best. He is funny as. Okay, be honest. That's why you got Ghostbusters on the list. It's not because the movie's fucking great. It's because he's good in it.
Yeah, I mean, is Vacation really that much worse than Ghostbusters? I haven't seen it.
That's the two evil.
Yeah. 12 Strong is a good movie. Good one movie. One of the early ones. Look, he's good in the remake of Red Dawn, but I wouldn't necessarily put it high up. And there's a movie called Cash that he's decent in as well. So yeah, they're probably my and obviously the first Extraction, probably. And I just want to know when that Hulk Hogan movie is going to come out. Apparently, it's going to be Hulk Hogan. I just don't see it, but we'll see.
So they've been saying for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, even if Richie said no, Ghostbusters 2016 was still going to make the list because Chris said yes. And we know how he feels about the movie. Anyway, talking about bad comedy movies, I think not that I was going to bring it up anytime soon. I'll probably bring it up if we're really running out of things. I think he's really entertaining in Men in Black International. But yeah, and I actually do quite like 12 Strong as well. And the first Avengers and Endgame, I think, were both ones that I was going to bring up at some stage, but it's one of those ones like both of them, like Thor is in them, but he doesn't have a lot to do. But like I think it eventually comes at about halfway through the movie, or I don't know exactly when he comes in, but I know he's not in the whole movie anyway. But Chris, any honorable mentions?
Endgame, Avengers. I think Endgame he does have a lot to do. I think the whole way him not cutting off Thanos' head to play that outfit to it. I like him in the Avengers. I think he's one of the better scene in Ultron. I think he get a couple of good one-liner in. I hate Vacation, but I will say he is the best thing. Him, Charlie Day, easily the best thing about it for me in terms of good laugh. Yeah, I had nothing else. It's just very trapped and good, and everything else is just like I don't want to talk about Men in Black International ever again.
Stacey, any honorable mentions?
Well, I didn't actually make a list, so I don't really have honorable mentions. I will say I would have probably voted yes to other Avengers movies. I probably would have voted yes for 12 Strong. Again, it's not the type of movie I'm going to rewatch a lot, but it is a really interesting story about these guys that went to war on horses in Iraq, and there's like a statue to them and everything. It's a true story, and it is very interesting, and he's very good in it. And in the first Extraction, I would have voted yes to. I would have voted yes to either one. So,
What about Vacation?
it probably would have depended where we were on the list. If it was early, I might have said yes, but like at the end of the list, no.
But Stephen, any honorable mentions?
Honestly, the only ones that are left are Endgame, The Avengers, and Age of Ultron. I mean, I didn't hate The Huntsman, Winter's War, but it's definitely not great. Thor: The Dark World was kind of forgettable, So Extraction is an okay movie, but I don't love it. So yeah, just those three.
But if that we're going to time me into the vote, how this works, going to write down on the whiteboard what we want at the positions 12, 11, and so on. But Chris, what do you have at number 12?
Between two, and I go with Mike the Hat. I mean, Ghostbusters 2016.
Stacey, what do you have for 12?
I also have Ghostbusters 2016.
Stephen, what do you have for 12? Richie, what do you have for 12?
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? Call the police first or something, or don't just call Ghostbusters. But yeah, I mean, you can call the Ghostbusters after that if you want to. Ghostbusters.
I would. It's going to be Ghostbusters, but I had it in the Heart of the Sea.
You say call somebody else. But
Yeah, just like call a neighbor. Don't immediately call Ghostbusters.
I would put Casper, but okay, Richie.
But what if your neighbor is the strange thing in your neighborhood?
What if you are the strange thing in your neighborhood? Yeah,
That is.
Ghostbusting Tom, no, the tax collector.
But anyway, Stacey, what do you have for?
Hold on. Sorry, I changed my mind. I have Snow White. I do think it's a more rewatchable movie than some others on the list, but in terms of actual quality, maybe not the best.
Stephen, what do you have for 11?
Muted, you silly boy.
You're silly.
There are movies that maybe deserve to be lower than this, but because of his limited screen time, Star Trek.
Richie, what do you have for 11?
Snow White and the Huntsman.
In the Heart of the Sea. Chris?
No, wait, and it's Newsflash. No, wait, and a husband. No, do you left on it?
Stephen, what do you have at 10?
Still Star Trek.
Richie?
In the Heart of the Sea.
In the Heart of the Sea. Chris?
From Moby Dick in the Heart of the Sea.
And Stacey?
In the Heart of the Sea.
Okay, now getting a little bit harder.
Okay, now I'm going to play favorites instead of just... Sure.
No, I back up here. Oh, wait.
Richie, what do you have for 9?
Now I'll go Star Trek, just given his limited, role in it.
I'm going to Extraction 2. Chris?
Lens Flare, the movie, Star Trek 19.
Stacey?
I also said Star Trek.
Stephen.
It would have been so funny if I switched to another movie.
It would have
but
been.
But no, I stuck with Star Trek.
Of course, you only wanted Star Trek 09 at number 9. I get it. Yeah, I get it. I see through everyone.
Right.
He's the person who has it number 9 on his own percentage list too. But some signature Extraction 2. Chris.
One shot the movie. Extraction 2.
Stacy.
Extraction 2.
Stephen.
Thor.
And Richie.
You have to be different. Extraction.
I haven't seen Extraction 2, and I'm with Malcolm in that I don't vote for movies that I haven't seen.
Fair enough.
Now it gets hard. Damn it.
Oh, eat me. I mean, I can do it. Oh no, that's unfortunate.
Chris, what do you have for 7?
Shakespeare the movie. Sorry.
What was it? Sorry.
Thor.
Sorry.
Oh, 4. Stacy.
Surprising myself, I also have Thor.
Stephen.
I actually like it more than Ragnarok, but I know how much people love Ragnarok, so I went. So yeah, the first one.
Richie.
Where's Simpatico today? It's Thor.
There's always has to be someone different. Times at the hour.
I know, just me, Stacey, and Richie are just trying to keep one movie higher. Much higher.
Just feel like someone predicts my next movie every round. Like, it's so weird.
Stacy, what do you have at 6?
In keeping with you someone predicting my next movie every round, I have Bad Times at the El Royale.
Stephen.
All right, I know I'm going to be keeping my board the same for a long time. I don't care. Cabin in the Woods.
Richie.
You are. No, I should Thor Ragnarok.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
I'm going to watch.
Oh God, I haven't picked another one yet. Hold on, you're rushing me. I feel rushed. Oh Jesus.
It's
all right. It's a long title. It'll take me a while to type it out before I start going.
That movie's great.
What are we down to the top 5? Okay, I can be.
Yeah.
I can be okay with it.
I did the thing again where I'm just going to write the same thing I just wrote.
That's really mine.
Oh, I didn't realize Bad Times at the El Royale was number 6. That goes well. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say my favorite movie on the list, but there's another one that might beat it.
All right. Stephen, what do you have for 5?
Sticking with Cabin in the Woods.
Richie.
Thor Ragnarok.
Rush. Chris.
Rushing or you down? Rushing. Rush.
Stacy.
I also said Thor Ragnarok, which I'm really shocked
So
at.
we've got 2 for Rush, 2 for Thor Ragnarok. Stephen, Rush or Thor Ragnarok at 5?
I didn't choose Rush because I thought it was gonna make it to like top 2 or 3. So I'll go with Rush.
What? Wait, that's weird. That's weird logic.
No, it's not. I said the only reason why I haven't put it down is because I know how much people love that movie and didn't think that had a chance of.
What?
Yeah, but it would have had a chance if you.
No, I'm not as big of a fan of it as most people.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you could have written it down instead of sticking with Cabin in the Woods, but anyway, We've got Avengers Infinity War left, Cabin in the Woods, Thor Ragnarok, and Furiosa left. Richie, what do you have for 4?
I have 4 for Thor. 4 Thor. 4 Thor. 4 Thor for Ragnarok. 4 Thor. Anyway, you get what I mean.
Yeah. I do love this, but I love the other ones that I've seen out of what's left more. Cabin in the Woods. Chris.
Funny story.
Stacy.
I have Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. I really kind of love all the rest of these equally, so it's tough.
And Stephen.
Cabin in the Woods.
Thor Ragnarok is going to be at 4.
The topic here.
I'm sticking with Cabin in the Woods. Chris.
He died an epic failed death. Cabin in the Woods.
Stacy.
Yeah, it's going that way anyway, and I really can't pick. So Cabin in the Woods.
Stephen.
Cabin in the Woods.
And Richie.
Big difference at Furiosa.
But the Cabin in the Woods is going to be at 3. And now we go putting our number 1 instead of the number 2. And it's between Avengers Infinity War and Furiosa.
Stacy, we made it. We got it all the way to the top.
I mean, it's not impossible for a recent movie to make it the top of the list. Like when we did Kirsten Dunst's movie Civil War, made the top of that. Surprisingly.
No, I'm surprised.
We did Daniel Radcliffe. Weird had just came out, and that made it on the top too.
Yeah. But Chris, what do you have for number 1?
Only one question: can you make it epic? Seriously.
Stacy.
I do have Infinity War because I do know, like, where people haven't all seen Furiosa, I felt kind of bad trying to make that number 1.
Infinity War.
Richie.
It's going to sound weird because I initially put it on the board before, but because I didn't think it was going to go this far. But anyway, ready, go, Furiosa.
Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, fuck you. I mean...
Hey, I haven't seen Furio. It's why I didn't...
It's my fault, because I was the other one who'd seen it. I do feel like the top movie should reflect, like, everybody more, though, than one that, you know, people haven't seen.
I'm just happy we got Furiosa all the way to the top.
Yeah, I'm glad because I do really think it deserved to be there. So it's kind of, I knew that it might not make it because of people not seeing it, but it definitely deserved to be on the list for the movie itself and his performance, both.
But anyway, our top 12 Chris Hemsworth movies. At number 12, we've got Ghostbusters 2016. At 11, we've got Snow White and the Huntsman. At 10, we've got In the Heart of the Sea. At 9, we've got Star Trek 2009. At 8, we got Extraction 2. At 7, we've got 4. At 7, we've got 4. At 6, we've got Bad Times at El Royale. At 5, we've got Rush. At 4, we've got Thor Ragnarok. At 3, we've got Cabin in the Woods. At 2, we've got Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, or Unneeded Subtitle. At number 1, we've got Avengers Infinity War. But moving on, next week, the topic is going to be top 12 opening scenes in movies of the 2010s. It should be a really interesting topic. But Chris, we can be before you online.
You can find me anywhere. You can find me at the Movie Hero Network. I'm doing a lot of TV thing right now with Malcolm Fioder. You can find me over Jordan channel, over any channel, and here sometime. But yeah, had fun. Happy to be back, and happy with all our picks. And more.
Stacey, we can people find you online.
I'm at Stacey LM78 on all of the socials with no E, which I never say, but it's Stacey with no. Oh, it's written in front of you. It is still with no E. And I pop up somewhat frequently on the Dill Pickle Movie Network, and sometimes I'm here.
Stephen, we can people find you online.
You can find me letterboxed as Shepherd82.
Richie, we can people find you online.
Yeah, I usually spell Stacy with an S, personally, but if you want to. Anyway, cool. I'm here all week. Anyway, my comedy gigs are anyway. All right. Yeah, you can find me Tournament Fights, Tier Rank, Wheel of Movies. The next Wheel of Movies we're going to be doing is About Time. I'll talk to you off. I'll talk to you and Austin off. Malcolm. I might need to change the day of that, but I'll talk to you off it. But yeah. But yeah, I've been looking forward to revisiting that movie. I haven't watched it in a while. It's a really good movie. Yeah, and other than that, more around the other leagues. Check that out. Lonely Marks. They're watching Double or Nothing pay-per-view at the moment, and I'm doing this. I'm committed to you guys, even though even though I was in it for like half of it because you went fast. But yeah, all good. You just can catch me anywhere really. And if you're in Brisbane, just come to one of my gigs. I've got a couple of things in the pipeline. But anyway, yeah.
But yeah, you can find me hosting Take Three Production. Find me on Take Three Productions hosting Rankum every Sunday. You can also find me popping up every now and then on the Movie Hero Network. I'll be on Wheel Movies this week or whenever that happens. I'm also hosting trivia over on Full Metal. This week, I'm pretty sure I've got Jonathan Caro versus Corey Crinto dropping. But that does bring us to the end of this, and I think I've got a.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm just a huge fan of the sport.